Good evening, and welcome to Wednesday Night Live Spirit, Mind, and Body Connection. I am Dr. Sharon Stroud. I am the founder of Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, where we believe there's a power for good in the universe greater than we are. And guess what? We can use it. And we are using it every single day of our lives, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. I absolutely adore our theme for the month, the Four Agreements. I felt that it was time to revisit them. This is a wonderful classic of Toltec wisdom by Miguel Ruiz, who is incidentally a medical doctor. And he said the Toltecs were the scientific community, the artistic community, the musicians, and the energy of the intelligentsia of Toltec wisdom. And they were the shamans, and they would impart their wisdom. And the Four Agreements is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to really acknowledge this opportunity that we have to go deeper into the Four Agreements. Last week, I discussed be impeccable with your word, and you can go into our pages, and if you missed it, and you can, the beauty of Facebook and YouTube is that we can revisit what we've already expressed. So as I welcome you tonight to our wonderful Wednesday Night Live, Spirit, Mind, and Body, where we gather together as the two or three gathered together for a higher purpose. We know that I am presence, that our higher power, whatever we conceive it to be, the ground of being, the very foundation of our lives, is alive and well. We know that there are many, many pathways up the mountaintop, and the view is always the same from the summit. I want to welcome each and every one of you. You know that I cannot see on our comments the Sharon Stroud page, so I know that many of you, Carl Wilson, the all amazing all women rock star, the acknowledger of women of the world, always tunes in, and so does Gary Vaughn. I want to acknowledge Julian Paul Hernandez, who has stepped in temporarily for the Reverend Dr. Roger Bambanek, who is in the process of moving out of state and selling his home and all of that. And Rhonda is with us from Florida. Bless you, Rhonda. I know you've just moved and you've been through some amazing life changes. And what I want you to know is that I went through those same life changes. My husband passed in the middle of a move, and our little girl was 7, and it was so challenging. So I'm just so blessed that you're with us. We welcome Marlene. Good evening, Marlene. We're happy that you're with us, and we send you our hearts as well. The Trinity of Hearts. And you know that I always set the tone with the chant from the Gandhi Foundation. And this chant is very, very powerful. And when I was presenting at the United Nations University for Peace in Costa Rica, it was the late 80s during the harmonic convergence. I have shared with you that I was sent a crystal bowl to tone and then to share this chant. And I have used the chant ever since 1987 because I think it is so deeply powerful. However, rather than the crystal bowl, and our bowl is really large, we have 2 of them. We have the wonderful little Tibetan bells, and they resonate to the heart chakra. Remember, a chakra in the ancient Sanskrit means a wheel of spinning energy in a clockwise fashion. And you just feel your heart open as I make this declaration into the law of mind. And as I make this declaration and you feel moved to make it with me, wonderful. You can repeat after me audibly or silently to yourself, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So Miss Minnie, she's our little mascot. We're going to set the tone, and we're going to acknowledge that there's a power in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it, and we are using it every single day of our lives, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. So we will begin, and I invite you just to repeat after me audibly or silently. I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I see your beauty. I hear your needs. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from a higher source. I salute that source in you. Come, let us work together. Come, let us work together. Come, let us work together. Right now, somewhere in the world, a Jew is saying her prayers. A Hindu is chanting a mantra, and a Buddhist is kneeling at her sacred shrine. Right now, at this very moment, someone is lighting a candle in a cathedral. Someone is making their Hajj toward Mecca, for it is the will of Allah. And yet someone else is making their Hajj toward Mecca, lighting a fire in a jungle, repeating an ancient mystical drama. Many, many pathways up the mountaintop, and the view is always the same from the summit. In the dawning of the spiritual sun, for a moment, all faiths became as one. The Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Jew became as one and somehow knew that mystic voice that calls to me, oh, yonder, yonder person, I am thee. We are one. And in this oneness do we live and move and have our being. In this oneness do we gather through our similarities and we grow through our differences. Beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and political affiliation, we are one. And so it is. So tonight, last week we talked about being impeccable with our word, that which we utter becomes the outer, and the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart are accepted and received. And when we really get that our word is law unto the thing in which it is sent, and that I've been teaching conscious languaging for 50 years. And in the Science of Mind textbook by Dr. Ernest Holmes, there is a whole section about probable psychological causes in mind for dis-ease. And we're either in ease and grace or we're in dis-ease. And if we're not living our dream, what are we doing? We may be living out our nightmare. So what we learn in the Science of Mind is that trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. When Dr. Norman Vincent Peale wrote The Power of Positive Thinking, he incorporated so many of the Science of Mind principles. And when I was 19 years old, my mother gave me that book to read, and it was such a gift from my beloved mother. And it really shifted my life and my awareness. And even though my beloved mother, she went down a different path because she had one goal in life, and that was to get her kids raised. Now, we know the two saddest things in life are having a goal and not reaching it, and having a goal and reaching it. Because when we reach that plateau, if we do not set a higher goal, a sacred goal, and I believe that our deepest desire, our highest vision, our most sacred goals are what allow us to keep growing and unfolding, because life is a spiral. And with each new revolution of change, right, there's some disorientation until we move to that higher level. And then it's like, oh, we've always been there. And after 2 years of college, I wanted to see the world, so I joined the airlines. And those were very interesting days. You could not be married. They would weigh you in. They'd look at your nails. Your makeup had to be perfect. You had to look like a model. It was rather unbelievable what they put us through. And I mean, weighing us in, if you can imagine. So what would happen is when the plane would begin to make its ascent and rise, it was like I would look down and things that seemed bigger than life, suddenly they were minute, and they got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until finally they were specks. And energetically, what we know is that our viewpoint depends upon our point of view. So last week when we talked about being impeccable with our word, that our word is law. And remember, this is the throat center, the throat chakra. And when Jesus said, decree a thing and it is established unto thee, that power of the word, that energy of our word. Dr. Holmes stated that thoughts are things and words are molds, that we mold our life out of the very thoughts we're thinking and the words that we speak, right? So being impeccable with our word, being our word, the universe smiles on those of us who keep our word. And then our life expands. Do we have challenges? Of course we do. We're all part of the human condition, aren't we? Each and every one of us. However, the more aware we are, the more mindful we are, we can make the shift much quicker. Rather than brooding for days and wringing our hands and worrying about things, remember that worry is a morbid use of the visualizing capacity of our mind. And it has no place, absolutely no place in our consciousness. It does not serve. And so tonight, when we're looking at don't take it personally, this is so powerful. I think this is one of the secrets of life, and the Buddhists had it right about the power of non-attachment. And the power of non-attachment is really, it's amazing because people say, well, you know, I care. I can't just detach and not care. But the truth is, to be non-attached is to take ourselves out of the equation of those bioplasmic streamers that connect us at the solar plexus level, and then we react from the emotional body. So when we see things and we detach from the drama, and this is so powerful, what we do is open our hearts to compassion. Compassion for those that seem to be entangled in these dramas, and to send out that light, the light that penetrates the darkness. It not only penetrates the darkness, it absorbs it. It not only absorbs it, what does it do? It illuminates it. And so we send out our light and our compassion. And when we are tempted to be reactive, and you know, I had a recent situation, and I've shared it with you, that someone thought that when we had our spiritual community here on Easter, this dear little, you know, blessed soul that is very troubled, thought, you know, she had her security system robbed and she was burglarized. And I thought, you know, isn't that amazing that someone can burglarize our security system? That's the outer, isn't it? I always look at the metaphor and the sacred motifs and situations when they arise. So she had her security system burglarized, and they took down all the cameras and made off with them. And she thought perhaps some of the, you know, the burglars were in, you know, our Easter service in my courtyard, where I have installed all of my huge pieces of stained glass, and we've made it an outdoor chapel. It's really my meditation, my place of meditation. And when I moved here, we were meeting at the Lieberman Chapel. And when COVID hit, then we began doing our online services in my Rose of Sharon sanctuary. So when it was 7 a.m. in the morning, I have shared this, and I was taking out some recyclables when she approached me about perhaps, you know, they came in to the Easter service. And the truth is, had they would have, what is that biblical statement about, I came to scoff and I went away praying? That they would have been touched and transformed. But I reacted, and in no uncertain terms, and just said, no one in our community, these are very spiritual, beautiful people. No one in our community has that consciousness. And she said, well, you don't have to get so angry. And I said, I am not angry. I'm passionate about my people. I know them and they know me. And it's like when Jesus said, I know my sheep and they are known of me, and went and found the little lost lamb. So I recreated the situation and invited she and her husband to Easter. Actually, that was Palm Sunday, and I invited them to Easter brunch, the exchange, after Palm Sunday. And so I did recreate the experience, but she did not receive it. So it was, and she started causing trouble and reporting me that I was doing church services out of my home. And I received a cease and desist order from the association for the CCNRs. And then the Supreme Court ruled that churches may meet in homes. That was 4 days later. And then I received a second cease and desist order. She reported me again. And I got an attorney involved, and she's her name is Sheila Williams, and she's an absolutely amazing attorney in Palm Springs, and she's all about civil rights, human rights. She's just an amazing woman. And we had this discussion, and then the whole thing went away. However, they said that I could not have any cars parked in front of my house. So we have 2 cars parked in my driveway. That is the Reverend Fleet Easton, who is our minister of music, and then our spiritual reader. And then another person parks in the driveway next door, my neighbors that are in Washington right now. And, she comes and participates in the online service. So what I want you to know is that when we recreate our experience, we are the benefactors. And when we detach from the drama of life, and what I know is that those that are the closest to us, they can hurt us and we can feel hurt. But what that is that's unfinished business. And I want to be very clear about that if we have unhealed wounds within us and someone taps into that wound, we react. Now, if we come from a healed place, anyone can say anything. And believe me, I'm in public life, and I have been, on that end of attack. And I would just send out compassion. And I learned that through the years. At first, I have been in the ministry 46 years as an ordained ministry consecutively. I didn't take 20 years off to go anywhere. It's been consecutive. And I had to really learn this because I would feel very hurt when I first entered the ministry at 30 years old. And, I felt that here we are in this positive way of life, and we can be on the solution level and we can draw the larger circle. Remember, when someone draws a circle and shuts you out, if you and love had the wit to win, you draw a circle that takes them in, right? So as we learn and grow and don't take things personally and realize that the person that is judging outside themselves and maybe unkind, this is about them and their unhealed wounds. This is about them. And so when the apostles asked Jesus, if we knock on someone's door, because he said, be fishers of men, go out and to all the nations and bring people into our wonderful way of life where they know who they are, created in the image and likeness of God, whatever we conceive our God to be, whatever name we put on our higher power, it matters not. But to acknowledge that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world. So they said, but what if we knock on a door and we're not received? And Jesus said, then wipe the dust from off thy sandals and go thy way in peace. In other words, don't judge. And he was a master psychologist. He said, agree with thine adversary quickly. And we think, well, we can't do that. If somebody's judging us, what that means is what the turning of the other cheek means, looking away from the negativity to what serves. And when Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of life, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency, that it's all about energy. And when we start to take something personally, what is it that I need to heal within myself? What has been ignited within me that I want to react rather than wipe the dust from off my sandals and go my way in peace? So think about it. What is it that we actually react to? What are the dramas in life? And when Jesus also said the truth need not be defended, that if we are knowing the truth does set us free from other people's projections. And we can react to these projections, or we can just draw the larger circle and include that in the moment and grow through it in a compassionate way. I think everyone is doing the very best they can. And those that are judging and criticizing and looking outside themselves, those dear souls, those dear lost souls that haven't found the secret of life. And that secret of life is the kingdom of heaven is within us. And when we acknowledge the kingdom of heaven is within us, that life is within us, that life unfolds in miraculous, miraculous ways, and that we need not take things personally, right? And when we start to use it as a trigger, and what does trigger us? For me, I was protecting, and I think it's part of my Leo nature. Leos are very, very loyal. And I was protecting my, in quotes, my flock, right? The people that I love, the people that have walked the path with me, my spiritual partners. I've seen them grow. I've been at their bedsides. I've buried their loved ones. I've christened their children, right? I've performed all of these weddings, same-sex weddings, straight weddings, amazing weddings. I've been there. And they've been there with me, walking the path together. And this is the International Gay Pride Month of June. And I did a special on just really acknowledging our gay community and the tremendous difference that they have made. And we have a very large percentage of our congregation is gay because we don't judge, we love. We don't tolerate, we accept. And we feel this deep, deep connection. And love is love. Whatever form it takes, love is love. And the attack that the gay community has undergone in their lives. And our own Reverend Fleet Easton said, as a boy, he was so bullied. And so, we take these experiences, we learn, and then what does it? It gives us a heart of compassion for others and to be tolerant of the intolerant. And this, let me tell you, this is our greatest challenge for those that are judging, and to just bless them and not to react, to wipe the dust from off our sandals and go our way in peace. This is what we are called to do as spiritual beings. And you see, if we're still reacting in the same old ways as we did when we weren't enlightened, then we have a lot of work to do. And once things do come up, we just acknowledge, yes, we're here. We're part of the human condition. We are going to react at times and be triggered, but it will be less and less and less. And one of the exercises that I would give my classes when I would actually facilitate the 4 agreements is, try to go for 4 hours without reacting or taking anything personally. And when, sad memories come up, just envelop them in love. And do that for 4 hours, and then 8 hours. And then move to 1 day, 2 days, and to go a whole week without taking anything personally. I mean, that, for me, is such a milestone, because when we are triggered, we are tempted. Lead us not into temptation, right? But deliver us from error. We are tempted to react. And when that comes up, let it be a trigger symbol to go within to the secret place of the Most High. To pray to our Father, Mother, God in secret, and to know that we are acknowledged openly by the outward demonstrations of our lives. Whatever we conceive our higher power to be, whatever name we put on our higher power, it matters not. I choose God. Some choose Father, Mother, Buddha, Yahweh, Jehovah. It matters not. But to acknowledge that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world, and the world of conditions, appearances, and effects, right? They show up. So when you're tempted to react, don't take it personally. Write it out, put it on the fridge. Don't take it personally. And know that everything is for our highest good. Everything. I was sharing on Facebook that early in the year, I went through 20 radiation treatments for basal cell skin cancer. A few years ago, I went through a very traumatic surgery with the same diagnosis. Part of my upper lip was cut out, and I had a lot of downtime, and I looked disfigured. But thank God I have very moist skin, and I did not have plastic surgery. I had a wonderful, my dermatologist, Dr. Josham, had to stitch everything up and close it, and then my skin is very moist. So, what's so great is that it healed beautifully. And I did have a laser treatment on the scar last summer, because I could see it. No one else could, but I could see it. And so I wanted it completely gone. So it was very traumatic, as you can imagine. I was, my nutrition was through a straw. So I Googled, what is the alternative to Mohs surgery? And it came up radiation. And it's a 21-second radiation on, looks like a blemish. They're very, very small, but they can go very deep. And when I went through the surgery a few years ago, it was 6 hours. You can just imagine. So I went through these 20 radiation treatments 3 times a week. And there was no downtime. There were no side effects, no surgery. And then the Dr. Wendy Roberts asked me if I would be on a television broadcast, a community service television broadcast, extolling the virtues of radiation therapy as opposed to Mohs surgery. And my original dermatologist, Dr. Josham, said, no one looks better after Mohs surgery. No one. So it was an honor and a privilege, really, to just share that you have options, you have alternatives, and that I could serve others through my own experience, right? And with such gratitude and such acknowledgement. So as Joseph said to his 11 brothers, out of evil cometh good. And out of the negative experiences that show up, we can take it to the next level by not taking it personally, by being impeccable with our word. Next week, we're going to talk about don't assume anything, about our assumptions that we make. Very detrimental to do that. And you know that we conclude every service with a spiritual treatment. Oh, our Dustin Wilson is with us. Bless you, darling. I consider him one of my godsons. And I'm very grateful. And I'm grateful for all the comments on the Sharon Stroud page I can't see, but just know that I love you and I'm very grateful for you. As I go into the spiritual treatment, I ask you to post your prayer requests. And I always like to know where you're from. It's just nice to know who's viewing and from where. And it just gives us, an added opportunity. And I received this beautiful little gift from Christine Bezos, who's probably on the Sharon Stroud page rather than the Interfaith Spiritual Center page, where I'm seeing all the comments. And I don't know how to change it so that I can see all the comments. However, just know that I love you. But Christina Bezos sent me this beautiful little gift. She went to Mexico, And this is really, it looks like a hummingbird, but it's, many, many colors. And it reminds me of the phoenix. So just remember, out of the ashes, we arise triumphant and victorious. The phoenix dies to what it was and it arises. It's called the firebird and arises in many beautiful colors. And this is just so beautiful. And I'm going to put it in a very special place. So Christine, thank you so much for this lovely, lovely gift. And I do want to share with you from my neighbor from Washington, they'll be back in November. She sent this darling little like happy faces. Here, I'll kind of put it, I don't know if you can really see it that well, but it says, may today be sunny side up. Dear Sharon, yes, today and every day should be sunny side up for you. You don't deserve to be harassed. This is the neighbor up the street. I love your positive attitude and ingenious problem solving. Kudos also to all those that have supported you. You are a good, kind person who sees the good in others. You have an open heart, a miraculous understanding. Have a wonderful day. Thinking of you, Janet and Denny Knapp. And these are my neighbors immediately that are offering up their driveway so that our beautiful Shirley Pollock that comes from Banning, she's 85 years young, comes from all the way from Banning to be with us on Sundays. So I was just so touched by the support and the love that comes our way if we don't take things personally, right? So just post your prayer requests and let's just go within and just acknowledge that there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is our life right here and right now. It is nearer than our breathing. It is closer than hands and feet. It is the life of our life. It is the essence of our being. All that we are is this God-created stuff. God in us, God as us. God is the only truth of us, whatever we conceive our God to be, whatever name we put on our higher power, that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world of conditions, appearances, and effects. And as I declare, that which needs to be healed is healed. That which needs to be revealed is revealed. That which needs to be known is known. And that which needs to be released is released, quickly, gently, and with grace. For eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of humanity the things which God hath prepared for them that love. Love being the strongest healing power in the universe. For we come together through our similarities, we grow through our differences. And I want to add, if there's anyone viewing tonight that possibly cried themselves to sleep last night, know that this word is for you, that you are not alone. The love of God surrounds you, the light of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is. This is the truth for you and with you. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for our way of life, for knowing that as we let go and let God do what God does best by means of each and every one of us, we hear the call, we answer, and our lives are transformed. And the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart are accepted and received as I let go, knowing that our God always gets the job done miraculously, and ours is the privilege of giving birth to it. Any plant which the Heavenly Father hath not planted is rooted up here and now as we arise in the knowingness that we are transformed by the renewing of our mind and the opening of our heart. And so it is. I want to just really acknowledge each and every one of you for being part of our virtual community. For those of you that are tithing and giving your love offerings and gifts, it has meant the world to us. Our doors are open because of you. And can you imagine being in a way of life in a corporation where we exist through the generosity of your heart? and through this whole contribution and generosity process. And that you've stepped up, and we do have an interfaith angel. I'm just so very grateful for you. And the opportunity to know that the same opening that we give through is the same opening that we receive through, right? So I say to you, I love you, and I am so grateful. Namaste. The divinity within me salutes the divinity within you, and the divinity within you salutes the divinity within me. And if I'm in that place in me and you are in that place in you, there is only one of us. Namaste. I say shalom, the peace that passes all understanding. And God bless us, every single one, that we've joined together tonight. And I just am so grateful for this time together. And I feel very, very blessed in the 46 years of being an ordained minister, over 50 years in this way of life. I am the greatest benefactor. I truly am. And so I'm just grateful to each and every one of you. And Miss Minnie and I, we will be back next week. So tune in at 7:30 for our Wednesday Night Live Spirit, Mind, and Body Connection, sponsored by Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide. And today is Prayer Treatment Wednesday. You can go on the Interfaith page, Interfaith, it's the Interfaith New Thought Spiritual Center, Palm Springs. It's rather long, but the creator of that name wanted to get everything in there, wanted to get New Thought Spiritual Center, Palm Springs. And we did receive the 2021 from the Palm Springs Hall of Fame, Best of Places of Worship. And we were just so grateful that our online message is out there and being received. So Miss Minnie and I, we will see you next week. And we love you and say, mwah, and